There are a number of things that an activist could do. For example, I would encourage anyone to to pay attention first and foremost, because a lot of times there is information that is out there and put out there by the media that is not always the best information to be utilized in determining what is actually happening in the electoral process. So paying attention to a lot of our action alerts and responding by contacting your members of Congress. Although it seems like it might be a futile exercise at times, it actually really does do a lot in order to force an issue to the table. For example, the most recent reauthorization of the Voting Rights Act would not have occurred had there not been so much activism and mobilization on the ground from people outside of Washington, D.C., people like yourselves, who were interested in ensuring that we protect the rights of all voters, particularly minority voters, as indicated of the Voting Rights Act, to exercise their right to vote. So the same can be said for any election reform initiatives that are moving through right now. Definitely contact your members of Congress, your representatives, your senators, because the more they hear from you, the more they know that this is an issue that they have to pay attention to. Although there's a lot of other issues out there, and they're going to be prioritizing. You know, your senator is going to be prioritizing according to what it is that they feel they have to address. So if they don't hear from you, then they're not going to feel that election reform is something that is a priority amongst those who actually put them in office. So absolutely contact your members of Congress and send letters, make phone calls. All of those are very useful. Also, get engaged in your community or help organize town halls. Educate your fellow, your friends and your colleagues about what's going on, because a lot of times people are just unfamiliar. And once they become more familiar about the problems about the problems around that are occurring in our election process and understand how they can fix them, then a lot of people actually do get engaged. So I think those are just a few examples. I think many people have heard of those before, but I just want to reiterate that they actually do work, and they are very helpful in trying to ensure that there is something that can be done. The urgency is extreme right now, and I think, as our president has often said and continues to say, that there is something to be said about Martin Luther King's famous quote, "The urgency of now," and that's extremely important when it comes to election reform. And it's something that has to be done now. It cannot be stressed, it cannot be overly stressed, because if we don't enact some type of election reform within the next 6 months or so, there's going to be problems within our elections. We're going to have another federal or presidential election in which we had no significant correction of the problems that we've been having in our election process for the past 3 federal elections, and this is something that we cannot continue to delay. And so definitely encourage people to get involved, to pay attention, to contact their members, contact the media. Oftentimes the media is misinformed about information or it has particular biases. Let them know that you're watching, and then it also helps to create that balance so that everybody understands and can hear different perspectives. So I encourage people just to stay engaged and to let your members know, let us know what it is that you want to hear about, and so that we can act as your representatives here, both on the national level and also in the state level.